Hi and welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Jasmine. I'm a video editor without any formal schooling on that, so I try to make everything I'm talking about as easy to understand as possible so that you can get back to work and be as productive as you possibly can. I try to make these videos as simple as possible just because learning an editor such as Adobe Premiere Pro can be a very grueling task. It can definitely be a learning curve. Before I started using Adobe Premiere Pro, I was actually using Premiere Elements, and switching from one of those to the next, it's still like a completely different program. Things are not titled the same way, so it can be a real challenge. Please make sure to subscribe on your way out if you like this video, and let's get into it. Today we're going to go over opening multiple sequences, opening multiple windows. Then that's an awesome feature in Premiere Pro. It's going to allow you so much space for editing, especially if you have multiple monitors like I do. I'm going to show you in a second. I actually have 2 monitors that I record on. I like having the extra space anytime I'm working on a computer, especially if I'm editing, if I'm doing research for a video, or if I have to do research along with doing a screen capture and taking notes. It's just really useful to have everything up on the screen without having to swap between windows. This is probably in my top 5 of favorite features about Premiere Pro. You can open multiple projects even. That's a whole nother thing, or you can just open multiple sequences. So I'm going to use one of Michelle's videos as an example. As you can see here, there's multiple boxes. I do work on 2 monitors because my brain really likes a lot of the computer real estate. The thing about Premiere Pro is that everything that you see on here is its own window. They call it a panel. So everything on here has its own panel. All of these little boxes, you see how I'm highlighting it? That's its own panel. So I'm going to take out the text one. You just right click and close it. Just for what I use editing for, I'd keep the program monitor up here, and then I have the project panel up here, which shows all of the assets for the project, all the footage, pictures, music, sound effects, all of that. And then over here to the right, I have my effects controls and effects. So I like to keep that way over on the right side. And for my timeline, because I work on multiple monitors, I usually undock that and then I expand the timeline to fit both monitors. So I'll show you how to do that. Pretty easy. I'll just stick the timeline back over here. Everything is really drag and drop. It's very convenient. This is what it would look like if you didn't really alter anything. So you can either right click this little hamburger menu right here and click undock, and that's going to separate the timeline from the rest of the editor, and then you can just use the arrow and drag the timeline all the way however far you need it. Okay, so the other way that you undock the timeline, you can actually just click up here with the left cursor, and you'll see a little box next to the cursor. You can actually click and hold it and drag it, and you can drag it away from the editor. You can do that with any of these. I like to also have this because if I need to do color editing, I can open the Lumetri color in a separate window. That way I can do all my color editing, and it doesn't shift everything around over here, which is nice. Next, I'm going to show you how to open a separate sequence. You'll also find this very useful if you're editing any kind of videos like I edit, which are commentary, where there's just a lot of components to it. There's a lot of videos and sound effects and music and all that kind of stuff. You're really going to want to be able to use this feature so that you can edit something that you need in a separate panel and then just drag and drop it to your timeline. So that way, if you have to put a 2-minute clip, but you really need to shorten it down to maybe 20 seconds, you can actually do that in the separate window before you drag it down into the project. That way you're not dragging a huge 20-minute clip into your project and trying to edit it there. It makes things a little bit easier and just a little bit more visually, it makes sense. It's basically like copy and paste, but you don't really actually have to copy and paste. Okay, so I'll show you how that works when you open a separate sequence. So you're going to go over here to File, hit New, and then you're going to go down to Sequence. Depending on what you want to edit in, if I were you, I would personally just pick one of the 4K ones. It's going to adjust automatically to what the video is going to be anyways, and then hit OK. I just chose 20, let's do 23.97 frames per second. Hit OK. It's going to open another timeline for you. It's going to label it sequence 1. You can open a lot of these. Usually I have 2 or 3 separate sequences open. Just like when you were undocking the timeline, you can actually click and separate your sequence. Just drag it and drop it somewhere else on the screen, and you can change the length and width of that as much as you want. Once you put footage up here, it may prompt you to change the settings, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory making a separate sequence. It's very useful. I didn't really realize you could separate the windows like that, but it came in super handy. I don't think I edit any video without it, except maybe the really short 1 to 2 minute videos. Yeah, I can't edit without that. But if you have any questions, as always, feel free to leave it in the comments. I'd be more than happy to make other tutorials if you're looking for something really specific. I love how once you find something on here, it's really easy to find find again. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.